Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and we're going for another E-Trike ride, and I'm going to tell you another story. I probably should explain that I don't drive car anymore. I'm licensed and I'm able to, but couple years ago, I had, in the last 3 years, I've had 3 small strokes called TIA. And, people recommended, and I agreed, I probably shouldn't drive because if you get one while you're driving, you might hurt somebody. So I don't drive, and that means all of my trike rides originate at the house where I live, which is on my son's property, and he built us a little place to live in there. So anyway, so that's why I just have to start out from the same place with all my e-bike rides and e-trike rides. So going over some bumps here. We'll get out of this pretty soon. So I wanted to tell you that. And then let's see here, no traffic. Okay, so we'll go out here. And I'm going to introduce you to some friends of mine that I had when I was in high school. Yeah, we're going back to high school, but I'm not going to be talking about pranks I played on people. These are 2 friends I had, Robert and Roland Lewis. Now, if you know these guys, let me know. I'd like to see them and talk to them again. But they were identical twins in high school. And they were in my church youth group. And that's how I got to know them. And so we got to know each other. Now they lived, they lived with their mom who was single. And they had an older brother named Dave. And they lived in a really nice 2-story house on the edge of Angle Lake, which is in Washington State, just a couple miles south of the SeaTac airport area, which is where I lived. And so they had that nice house. And then, of course, the boys had a Model A Ford, 1931 Model A, that they drove around in for a junk car. Believe it or not. I've got another story about that. Anyway, I would love to have one of those. And I was able to drive it one time. But anyway, so they had that, and we ran around town in that a lot. And then also, they had a sailboat that they sailed on Angle Lake, 17 foot. With a jib and a mainsail, and that's where I learned to sail. And because all the times before I'd been out in a boat, there had been all this motor noise and everything, and so they took me out on Angle Lake there, and there was a little breeze blowing, making sure there's no cars coming. There was a little breeze blowing, and they showed me how to sail, and I fell in love with sailboating. There's no sound except for the water splashing around on the side of the boat as you go along, and that to me was beautiful. I'm not a speed freak. I like slow things, and I used to ride a Harley, but it wasn't a super Harley. It was just ride down the road, and never had a desire for a fast bike or a fast car or anything like that. So a nice slow-moving sailboat was perfect, and I learned how to sail in that boat, and so that was one of the things that made us good friends, because they liked to sail. It was it was an old boat. It wasn't made out of plywood. It was the bottom of the hull was plank wood, different planks, and the sides. It was a solid boat, really nice one. Anyway, and then I got some stories about when they trailered it to Lake Washington, and we went sailing in Lake Washington, and those are some fun stories. And then anyway, so I better get to a story for today. There was something else I was going to tell you about those guys. They had, okay, I told you they had the Model A, they had the sailboat. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'll get to it another time. But anyway, so they had this little floating dock out 150 feet. There's a friendly dog. Out about 150 feet from their house on the beach, and they you could swim. Oh, I know what it was. That's where I got into snorkeling, because go out there swimming, and then snorkeling, you could just kind of float along the top, put some fins on your feet, and just float along the top. And we would go along the beach or along the shore and find things underneath the docks and stuff and pull them up. So anyway, that was a fun thing. But so they had this dock that was out about 150 feet. I say about, how do I know what it was? Anyway, it was quite a ways. And you could swim out to it. Anybody who knew how to swim could swim out to it. And so we had the youth group had a swimming party at his house, and there was probably a dozen of us there. And so, we all swam out to the dock, and just having fun, jumping off and all that kind of stuff. And so we were out there. There was this one kid who didn't swim out to the dock. He stayed on the shore. His name was Joel, and he just would not, he didn't want to get in. We kept encouraging him, come on, swim on out, swim on out. And so he started getting into the water. There's another friendly dog. Now we're coming up to the noisy part of the ride, which I am going to super fast go through until we get to a place where it's not a lot of traffic noise, like just what you just heard there. So I'm going to go really super fast through that, and then I'll tell you some more about Joel and the swimming party. So stay tuned. Okay, we got away from all the noise, and I don't know where I'm going to go now, but we'll go up this way a little ways. Anyway, so Joel was on the shore, and he was really afraid to, so we kept encouraging, just give it a try swimming. And so he took our advice for it, and kind of waded into the water. And then he got up to where it was up to his neck. It was like a fairly steep drop-off type thing. And so I got up to his neck, and then he started swimming. And was actually making headway. And he was probably, I don't know, maybe halfway to the dock. And then he started screaming. He panicked. he started screaming, "Help, help, help." And of course, all the kids, all of us were just standing there watching him. He was hollering help. And I thought, well, okay. Nobody else. There's a lot of noise. Anyway, if nobody else is going to try to help this kid, I will. Now, I was a pretty good swimmer. And so, I mean, I really was. I could swim backwards and upside down and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so I told him, I said, well, first of all, I jumped in. I swam to him, and don't know where we're going here, but we'll check it out. And I got to him, and I told him, I said, first of all, I got behind him, wrapped my arms around his chest, and I told him, point your feet and kick, and kick, and kick, and kick. And so he did, and then, of course, I started swimming with my left arm. I was pulling us towards the shore, and I was kicking, and he was kicking, and he quieted down. He wasn't screaming anymore, and that was good. And so, anyway, we finally got to the shore, and I got my feet on the ground, and I started pulling him in, and he was scared to death and tired, and I was just totally pooped. And so, let's go down this way, just for fun. I was totally pooped, and so I just laid there on the beach, and then all the kids started swimming in to see how he was doing. And so anyway, it took me a long time to recover because I was totally bushed. I mean, it just really wore me out doing that. So anyway, so I saved him from drowning, I guess. And he was a little weird. He found out later that he carried a gun to school once in a while for some strange reason. Back then, I don't know how it would be now, but anyway, back then he did that. And of course, he had a girlfriend, and his girlfriend, she kind of liked me, and I liked her, but I wasn't going to try to steal his girlfriend since he carried a gun to school. Yeah, big chicken, huh? Anyway, so that's the story of my friends. I got more stories of Ronald and Roland, and I'll be glad to tell you those one of these days. In the meantime, I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.